I told Raphael that, Raphael, I'm sorry I have to say this, but you're gonna have to just, you're gonna have to leave my place. You're gonna have to find another light bearer to work with, but this type of like working bond with me and you, it's not really gonna work. Hey guys, Ethan here. Welcome back to my channel. If you guys seen me before, welcome back. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. So, oh man, I really don't want to get too negative about this, but there's a reason I'm gonna go a little bit kind of off. Like my mood's gonna be somewhat in a disappointing expression that I will explain in a moment. So yeah, Archangel Raphael unfortunately did some things that weren't very satisfying for me. That I wasn't very happy at all. I got really disappointed, and I did actually got mad at him for doing this to me. So to understand what happened, I'm gonna go back, uh, all the way back to February 23rd. So start this off. I had paranormal activity going on in my house. But it was mostly in my room, but it wasn't really occurring anywhere else. It was just like in this room I'm in right now. So what truly happened was that um, I got a message from Raphael that for some reason that a negative spirit somehow, let's just say, every time I asked to project or asked to travel, I would always create a spirit portal to kind of like, get myself, like, my soul would come out of my body, and then I'll be like, oof, there I go. And that's how I would do it. But sometimes um, there are moments where you should not, well, I really can't say this for sure, but you should always have your have your own portals protected and have a barrier around it. Otherwise, you'll get negative spirit intruders in your house that you don't want, even though you have spiritual boundaries. So that's the one thing I learned. And somehow one negative spirit followed me back through my damn portal that I didn't even know back then until Raphael told me the truth. I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even know that, like now that I was doing so well in my boundaries that I didn't think that they would these negative spirits, it doesn't matter which type, they would use my portal against me. So they travel through it, and I wouldn't even know they actually slipped right through my grasp, which would be like, darn it, I should have known, but now I know how to protect myself even better. Anyway, um, what started was that um, I had an unexpected knock on my door. It's actually right here on this door here. It's a wooden door. Um, so every morning around like 8 a.m., somewhere on that point, I would hear a knock once, and that would actually like wake me up. Like even though like I'm kind of asleep, but then I would also hear it whenever I'm still on the other side. So it kind of like vibrates simultaneously in it, like in an synced way or some sort. I think that's the best way you can describe it. So I heard that, I was like, I was like, really? That was like my expression, and I was testing out the door. I actually knocked on it just in case if the sound was somewhat the same or similar, and that was the exact sound that I hear. So I'm like, what was that all about? Like, what negative entity do I have? And it's an earthbound. I'm like, more specifically, it's an earthbound human spirit, which I have dealt with before though, but this was different for me, and I was like, you know what? Um, Raphael told me some solutions for me to like get rid of the spirit though, so that's what he told me to do. So what he told me was that I had uh, a psychic energy imprint on my wooden door, and I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. And the second thing he told me was that I had some just uh, residual spiritual negative energy, mass, like that was on my door. It was just sitting in there. That's what he told me. It was just hovering, but wasn't doing anything. So he told me was that that psychic imprint that I always had there for some reason. Um, it was just staying there because I had paranormal activity in the past, though. So that was like a psychic energy imprint. That's what he told me, and that somehow did uh, interact with the negative energy space area. It's like a pocket of energy just sitting there. So it would interact with it, and boom, it would make the same thing, even though there's no negative spirit. But so I did a magical cleansing. It's not Palo Santo and Sage. I do something very different in my cleansing, so it's not what everyone used to do. So it's something that I can do as a sorcerer. If you guys did not know about that, I actually do uh, talk about my sorcerer life in my other video. I will leave a link down below if you guys are kind of curious about that. Anyway, coming back to what I was about to say here is that when I did my magical cleansing, he told me, or Raphael told me that it's over with, it's gone. I was happy about that. I was like, okay, now that's over with. Now I can continue on. But unfortunately, the next day, around 8 a.m. as usual, it happened again. I'm like, really? I was like, okay, I guess we'll have to do it again, but this time focus on the door, since I have to get rid of that. It's like an energy imprint that's on my door. That's what I did. And I was like, okay, I guess we got it. And then the next thing, it happens again. And I'm like, I'm stressing out because I was like, I did all this work and it's not working. I don't understand. And it happened like almost 4 to 5 days. Oh my gosh. And coming up to like, I think it was on the 28th, or it might have been March 1st. I don't know. So I'm like, I had to contact Archangel Michael for this. This was the next thing. I had to contact Archangel Michael. So that's what I did. Um, the next thing I did was that in the morning, I contacted Archangel Michael about this, and somehow I needed his help because I didn't understand what was going on. And that's what I did. And the next thing I asked is that, what the hell's going on? Nothing's working. I was working with Raphael, that's what I told him. And somehow I was like I've been trying to cleanse this psych energy imprint and the negative energy mass that's left over. It's residual energy. And you guys are gonna be really surprised about this. This is something that I didn't expect from Raphael that would do this to me, and I did not think this would happen to me. So the truth is that everything that Raphael told me was a complete lie. That's what Michael told me. I was like, what? He lied to me about those two things that were there, and he told me yes, that was everything that he told me was a total lie. And a lot of you Christians out there might be thinking like that's probably not the real Raphael. I guarantee I can assure you, people, that this is Raphael, the Archangel Raphael that you guys know from the Bible. I know that it was him. And if it wasn't him, the situation would have been much worse than I was explaining to you guys earlier. Anyway, so I had to ask Archangel Michael to help me out, and the thing is that I did a really hard choice. Was that I told Michael, can you please just send Raphael back? I really can't deal with this right now. I was just really frustrated, so I told him just take him back, but I need him to, well, I need Michael to kind of like help me out with this cleansing, and that's what we did. We did a cleansing, like a much proper way of how to identify the situation. That's what we did. The thing is that this negative entity that was still here, it's a earthbound human spirit. I don't really know who it is, but it's not my concern. But for some reason, I haven't told you guys this before, is that there's a thing called, I would call it a threat level type of like scale that I kind of invented myself. It's my terrible thing I use to do for whenever I usually get paranormal activity. So I'm like, what entity am I dealing with, and what's the threat level scale? So I do 1 through 10. So I was like, oh, it's a level 4 to 5 threat level for this entity. That's what I usually do. That's kind of like a little game thing, but it's not really a game, even though it's like it is a game, but it's not. It's like a real-time threat level that you need to deal with to identify like how powerful the situation is. Anyway, coming back to me and Michael doing the cleansing, and for some reason I already figured out that this negative human spirit, earthbound here, was already feeding off my depression so much that one of the times where like it got worse for like 4 to 5 days, this entity knocked on my door like a lot more harder than usual, a lot louder. I was like, oh my gosh. But good thing me and Michael, we got this over with, and I was like, I'm glad we got that out of the way. So I thanked him a lot, and I did tell him that I do owe you a great debt, but he told me no. I don't need to owe him back anything. So that's what happened, and I was like, you know what? I think we're gonna have to have a conversation with Raphael after this a bit later on, and that's what I did. I discussed with him later on. This is very frustrating and very depressing because I went through so much trouble and I still feel drained. Like, I'm trying my hardest to get back on my feet, and it's really difficult. So I pretty much contacted Michael and Raphael back, and this conversation was very intense, very heavy, and I asked Raphael, why did you do this to me? Why did you lie to me? And he was absolutely terribly sorry for what he did to me. And I was like, the thing is that this is going to be really intense, very emotional for me, but I am going to start getting a little bit kind of aggressive on this part, so bear with me on this. I told him, do you have any idea what the hell I gone through? Do you have any idea like what I got myself into? Because do you have no idea like how bad the situation would have gone if this wasn't prevented sooner or later? And he totally understood my anger. Like, I was very cross with him, and I told him, like, I've been through partial possessions before. It's not like full possessions, but I had times where I had a sleep paralysis and a demon would try to possess me, but I was still in control. And if that were to happen, I told him about it, that would have been much worse. And if that entity kept feeding off my depression a lot more, I would not be able to fight it off. Maybe I could have, but I don't think I would have stood a chance. And the worst part is that I did want to mention a piece, something from Ghost Adventures, which is back in like 2008 or 7. I don't freaking remember. Um, I did tell Raphael that what would have happened if I would have ended in the state where uh, Nick Groff was being possessed and he was being influenced. That was the thing I was referring to, and he can actually. I don't know if you guys did not know this, but a lot of angels can read your memories. They can do that, and I actually was replaying the memory of the show back in 2008 or 7. I don't remember, and I told him what would have happened if I was in that state where Nick Groff was? Like, what do you think would have happened? And he understood very well. Raphael understood what I was talking about. And he felt terribly sorry that he did this to me. And he didn't really mean it to happen, but I told him what if that were to occur? I wasn't able to fight it off. That would have been the worst part of my life. So, yeah. I was like, this is something that this is going to be really shocking that I did not know about. So I talked to Michael after I lashed out at Raphael for doing this to me, even though he didn't mean to do it. And I was like, so I asked Michael, I thought Raphael had similar wisdom just like you. And the shocking truth is that Michael told me that not every archangel has like the same amount of wisdom or similar amount of wisdom. Not all of them do. I'm like, what do you mean, like, not similar wisdom? Like, so what Michael told me was that this is something very new I did not know about, and I'm very certain that a lot of you light workers and psychic mediums must understand this. Some of you might have known this, some of you may have not. A lot of archangels have certain professions in the spiritual part that they are very good at. And Michael told me that Archangel Raphael was new to the paranormal issue case. So he does not know a lot about the paranormal piece as much as Michael. I was like, what? I thought he knew. I'm like, no, he does not. But he was very new to it. He was trying to be helpful, but he just didn't really do much for me. I was like, I told him, is this really my fault for not realizing that? And Michael told me that it wasn't really my fault. I didn't know about it from the beginning, but to be clear, it is Raphael's fault that he didn't really, um, like, wasn't very clear on this, and I did not know he was not familiar with this type of paranormal activity type of scenario, that he would be able to solve paranormal investigations like this. He did not know. I was like, I had no other words to say, so I was like, I had to do this one choice that I'm pretty sure many of you would be against, but this is reasonable for me to do. I told Raphael that, Raphael, I'm sorry I have to say this, but you're gonna have to leave my place. You're gonna have to find another light bearer to work with, but this type of like working bond with me and you, it's not really gonna work. So that's what I did, and he totally understood why that I was doing this, and I have no feelings of being sorry. Or I did say I was sorry, but I was like, I know, like, you're great and all. I know you saved me from a battle before, but you're gonna have to you're gonna have to leave my house. But I'm not saying you're not allowed to be in my house anymore, but you just have to find another light bearer to be with to help someone out, because it's just not gonna work, and I'm not gonna take my chance of trying to have you learn the solutions, because if I do that, I know that the situation is gonna get worse than before, than last time. So that's why I did. And a lot of you Christians may say, try and just give him one more chance. I'm not gonna fall for that, even though he's not a bad archangel. He just didn't know what was going on. But I just told him it's just best for him to just find another light bearer, find someone else, and then I'll have to um, do with my other spirit guides that can help me all together, because I have 5 guardian angels and have a fairy spirit guide. So I'm like, you guys might be wondering, why do I have that many spirit guides? Well, it's because they had different purposes, but you guys might be wondering, why didn't I just ask them? Well, I just wanted to see if Raphael knew the problem, and then my spirit guide team can assist with the work. But since he didn't know about it, I'm like, you know what? We're gonna have to call it quits here. We're gonna have to stop this. And I was like, Raphael, farewell. I'm like, you're gonna have to. I'm hoping you find someone that would be really appreciative of you, but that's where it has to end for now. So that's where it goes. Ugh, man. So, yeah, that's why I had to make a tough choice, and I had to let him go. I had to tell him, like, can you just please just find a different light bearer, a different side community you can work with, but you and me, it's not gonna work. So, you guys may be wondering what's next, what I do. Well, I did ask Michael that, what can I do now since I've let Raphael out of my hands, so now he's not here anymore. I do want to tell you guys that, and he told me that you're just gonna have to just deal with it. But I asked him, do you have any idea which archangel I should contact for this? Because I would like for something that, or like for someone that can tell me how to solve paranormal investigations like I'm currently dealing with, or sometimes if I will have to deal with again in the future. And he told me a familiar archangel that I have heard about, and the name is Archangel Raphael, which I've not looked this up that much, but I've heard of her before. And I asked him, does she know paranormal investigations like you do, Michael? And he told me, yes, she does actually. She knows plenty amount of knowledge about the paranormal, as much as he does. So I was like, okay, I'll probably get into that later on in the days. So, but I still thank Michael, and he told me, you're welcome. It's no big issue. I mean, I know he's a powerful archangel, but I was really grateful, and I was like, part of me still feels kind of sorry for Raphael, but obviously I can't really bother right now, because I just don't want to go back to the same situation anymore, and I just want to move on from this point. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed my this complicated depression story I had, because I did not think I was gonna get to this situation. Now I know that certain archangels had different spiritual professions. Like this archangel is pretty good at learning about elemental spirits, maybe learning about crystals, or learning about Native Americans. These are just some examples. So, but now I know that certain amount of archangels have different professions in the spiritual field that they're pretty good at. So now you guys can totally understand, or pretty much ask your spirit guides, which archangel you want to work with, which one will be best for you, things like that. Anyway, that's it for my complicated story. Love my to all of you guys, and as always, stay strong out there. I'll see you guys next time.